Evening, everyone. Hi, hope everyone is keeping well. Rob here for yet another Finds video. Bit belated again, just through tiredness, etc. My usual excuses. So I'm not gonna elaborate. Yeah. So this is all. Well, say all. It's a small stash of finds that I got from Ben's from last Saturday, which I shall get into straight away. Okay, so the first two are I was very lucky to receive some. I suppose it's VCLT, you could call it. Apparently, he does watch my channel sometimes. Um, a gentleman by the name of Nick, who's a friend of Ben's, and he does come into the shop periodically to purchase stuff and obviously have a chat and so on. He's been very kind enough to bring me some freebies before. He's very much into a lot of minimalist jazz, ambient kind of stuff, and he knows that I like some of that as well. So yeah, and he's bought me a couple of records, and I was very gratefully received. So what are they? Okay, these are on the ECM label, jazz label, that I don't think I'd actually got anything of. I've got a fair bit of Windham Hill now, but not ECM. But this is an artist called Ralph Towner, and this is his album Solstice. So Ralph Towner, yeah, sort of virtuoso jazz guitar player, I guess. Plays 12-string classical guitar, piano, multi-instrumentalist. He's here accompanied by three other musicians. This is from 1975, recorded in 74. I'm not sure where this sits in his catalogue. As I say, wasn't hitherto familiar with Ralph Towner. But yeah, I put this on, and this is a great album. Really engaging. It's interesting. It changes. Very atmospheric. Lots of sort of highs and lows in terms of volume, timbre, the way that they play. Really enjoyable listen. So that's Ralph Towner and Solstice. And then he also gave me this one, which is, I believe, from the following year. Yeah, May 76 recorded. This one is Sargasso Sea, and this was recorded. So this one is Ralph Towner and John Abercrombie, both playing electric and acoustic guitars, piano, classical guitar. Probably on a first listen, I didn't enjoy this quite as much as Solstice, but yeah, as I say, I've only managed to spin it once so far. So that's the ECM label there. Really nice condition, and yeah, delighted to pick these up. Real quality listening. So yeah, Nick, if you're watching, thank you once again. We'll have to have a long overdue catch up and a beer on me, of course. So yeah, hopefully see you soon. Okay, so the next one is one of these ones that kind of divides people. Certainly the first time I heard this, I wasn't exactly blown away by it, but I played it the other week and decided I did enjoy it. So this is Trader Horn, and this is the one and only collaboration of Jackie McCauley from Them, who's the keyboard vocalist, and Judy Dybel, who was original vocalist of Fairport Convention. And yeah, like I say, this is their one and only collaboration from 1970. And yeah, I think the first time I played this, I kind of, my initial reaction was that it was a little bit twee, which is kind of odd considering I like the Incredible String Band and I like the quirkiness and so on. But it just didn't, I don't know, I must have listened to it on an off day. Sometimes this is the thing with music, sometimes you don't always click with it first time around. I knew that of its reputation and I was keen to listen to it. So I kind of left it alone for maybe a year, 18 months. And I played it the other week and it just hit the spot. So yeah, really, really enjoyed it. And luckily Ben had a sealed copy of this. This is on Earth Records. So I was familiar with kind of trees and a lot of folk reissues. Sounds excellent. And yeah, they always do good reissues. This one also comes with a photo, which they usually do, don't they? I think. So a little photo print of the two of them there. Yeah. So the download cards on the back of the thing. I haven't got the download card, not that I use those anyway, but yeah, so progressive folk album, kind of unique sounding, I guess, and just a really pleasant listen. Yeah, enjoyed it. So that's Trader Horn and Morning Way. Okay, the next one, also one that I think splits opinion as far as I'm aware. I didn't always like this record, but I've sort of since grown. It's sort of a slow grower on me, and I do really quite enjoy it now. So this is Van Dyke Parks, and this is a reissue of his debut album Song Cycle from 1967. So yeah, Van Dyke Parks, kind of multi-instrumentalist, arranger, one-time collaborator with the likes of Brian Wilson. I think he originally helped out on some of the Smile. Was it the original Smile demos that was obviously abandoned, that Brian Wilson then took up sort of, years later to sort of complete, as it were. But yeah, I mean, this is a kind of Baroque, sort of orchestrated sort of pop, quite quirky songs. A couple of covers on here. Does a version of Donovan's Colours. He calls it Donovan's Colours. Doesn't really bear any resemblance to the original particularly. And then also, what's the other one? There was another. Oh, it was Vine Street, sorry, by Brandy Newman. Yeah, and it certainly has its high points. This album, I think, if you wanted to be really critical about it, I think sometimes he's kind of reaching out a little bit too far. Maybe it's a little bit too clever for its own good sometimes. But it is an interesting listen, and yeah, it's nice to have in the collection. So, fairly standard label there. It does come with a CD copy, which I can't find at the moment. So yeah, that's Van Dyke Parks and Song Cycle. Okay, next one, addition to my Michael Chapman collection. This is a don't know why something's got stuck there. I don't know, it's a download code or something. Okay, this is Michael Chapman, 6th of May 1971. So I think this is a bootleg recording of Michael Chapman with Rick Kemp accompanied on electric bass and backing vocals. Where was this recorded? It was recorded live at Associated. What does that say? Associated. Oh, I'm not sure. It's the Netherlands anyway. It's somewhere in Holland. But yeah, wasn't quite sure about this when Ben first presented it, as bootlegs can be a bit hit and miss. The quality of the recording on this is actually really good. Comes on a nice vibrant red vinyl, and it's pretty quiet pressing, and sounds pretty good. This is a really good phase, I think, of Michael Chapman's career. So this is 1971. I think he just done his first couple of albums, which is just utterly superb. Particularly Fully Qualified Survivor, which is just an all-time favourite of mine. And he actually does a song off that, which is the opening track on the album, which is called The Aviator, which is just wonderful. But he also does a really nice version of the Tim Hart song Reason to Believe. And it's a decent listen. So yeah, happy to get that one. Okay. Next one is a band I was familiar with, but I didn't know this album. So this is the British psych band Fire, and this is a reissue of their 1970 album The Magic Shoemaker, which is on C for Miles Records. So I have quite a few reissues on this label. A lot of them from the 80s. They sound really, really good. Always happy to pick them up when there's decent titles. And I wasn't familiar with this album, but I knew Fire from their they kind of had a cult psychedelic hit a couple of years earlier called My Father's Name is Dad, which has appeared on quite a few psych comps over the years. It was a great song. This has no resemblance on that whatsoever. This is quite a progressive album. Obviously the theme is, as the name would suggest, like a children's story, and the writer Dave Lambert, who writes all the songs and sings, he's actually doing some sort of narration between the tracks, which gets a little bit irritating, and it's kind of recorded badly, sort of on a microphone. And it's okay. The story itself is kind of neither here nor there, really, but the music and the songs are excellent. Really good. Really worth listening to if you haven't come across it. Okay. Next one is this one is called Big Boy Pete. This is homage to Catatonia, the psychedelic adventures of Pete Miller. So who's Pete Miller, you ask yourselves? Well, I wasn't familiar with him prior to picking this up. This is a 90s release compilation of songs that he recorded between 1966 and 69. So he's a kind of he plays a guitar, writes songs. He's an arranger, produces, written songs for a lot of other artists of the day in the 60s and 70s. Sort of struggled to get his own career, I think, from what I can read on the Inside Off the Ground. there's quite a nice bio of the guy in there. As you can see, he's there. Sort of looks a little bit Roy Orbison-ish, which is quite apt because he's a big rock and roll fan. And this is why it's quite an interesting listen, because it's although the songs have a kind of pop psych feel, there's definitely you can hear the rock and roll coming through, and you can see that was kind of like his first love, I guess, running through the song. So yeah, really interesting, really quirky, sort of interesting lyrics and themes, and yeah, just a really good listen. So I've been spinning this a lot, really enjoying it. Really upbeat, sort of happy 60s trippy psyche songs. Yeah, just great, really enjoyable. So give that a listen if it sounds interesting. Okay, a couple more to go. This is probably my pick of the bunch, and yeah, I think that Ben was a little bit peeved after I decided that I wanted it, because he hadn't streamed or played it at that stage, and decided he wanted to keep it for himself, but obviously he'd already let me have it. So yeah, this is a wonderful record. This is Keith Cross and Peter Ross, and this is their one and only collaboration from 1972 called Bored Civilians. This was a record store release, I think from 2020, the date on that. And yeah. I mean, this is just a wonderful realised record. They've both been in different bands, played with various artists, came together for this record, and put this together, and it just sunk like a stone, like a lot of these kind of cult records. Just didn't get a lot of radio play, I don't think. But yeah, it's really wonderful. I mean, the hype sticker says first official final release of this seminal 72 prog rock album. I wouldn't say that it's prog rock. I think that they're just very well crafted, atmospheric songs. They've both got fantastically melodic voices. It's wonderfully produced and arranged. All the songs are different. Probably my highlight is the last track, or the last two tracks, Bo Radley and Fly Home, which is just epic. Beautiful song, wonderful orchestrations. It just kind of soars, and it's just warrants repeat listenings. Really wonderful. Yeah, so really enjoyed that one. Okay, and finally, just I'm sort of upgrading some of my collection, just trying to get better copies. This is a lovely first pressing of Kate Bush's Kick Inside on EMI. Yeah, just minty copy in the cover. So really happy to get that. Yeah, I think this and The Dreaming are definitely my favourite two of Kate's, and really glad to look at the luster on that. Wonderful stuff. So anyway, guys, yeah, hope you all have a really good weekend, whatever you're up to. I think the weather's going to be quite nice here in the UK, so unusually warm, so that we fortunately haven't experienced the beast from the east yet. Maybe I should have said it. I've jinxed it now. There you go. It's going to get really cold. We're going to have loads of snow. But yeah, whatever you're up to, I hope you have a great one and you're all keeping well, and I will speak to you again soon. Cheers, guys. All the best. Bye-bye.